Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're diving into an idea that might just flip your understanding of love and connection completely on its head. What if the deepest way to love someone isn't about knowing absolutely everything about them? What if sometimes it's about actively choosing not to know, resisting that urge to ask all the questions?
Yeah, it sounds really counterintuitive, doesn't it? I mean, our first instinct usually is that curiosity, asking questions, showing you're really interested. That's how you show you care.
Right. That's what we're taught, especially maybe in, Western cultures. Probe more, show more devotion.
Mhm.
But this deep dive, it was inspired by this really beautiful Korean phrase from the sources you shared. So let me try this. Algo shipjiman, muchianun, joto sarangel jido moroida,
Yeah, that's it.
which translates roughly to, I want to know, but not asking might also be a form of love. And yeah, initially that just feels backwards, completely.
It really does stop you, doesn't it, that phrase? So our mission today really is to journey through this idea. It's challenging. We want to explore how it redefines, intimacy, curiosity, respect. And hopefully, by the end of this deep dive, you might look at your relationships, maybe even yourself, a little differently. We're going to pull out the wisdom from these sources on this.
Okay, let's really unpack this paradox then.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right, that common assumption, particularly strong maybe in the West, is knowing equals caring. The more details we have, the more questions we ask, the more we feel like we're showing our interest, our love. We want to be like totally in the know.
It's the standard playbook, isn't it? To really care, you need all the details, every little nuance of someone's thoughts, their feelings. And we ask because we genuinely want to connect, of course. But sometimes, maybe that desire turns into something that feels almost like an interrogation, like we have to have all the answers.
But this Korean wisdom, it just shifts that perspective entirely. It suggests that not asking, holding back those questions, can actually be, surprisingly, a deeper form of love. It's about intentionally making space, allowing for a kind of beautiful mystery in the relationship, almost saying, I trust you, I honor your inner world, I don't need to pick it all apart.
And what's really fascinating, one of the articles brought up this analogy, thinking about love like a quantum state.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So in quantum physics, right, the act of observing, of measuring, actually changes the system you're looking at. The particles behave differently. And maybe, just maybe, our questions, even the kindest, most well-meaning ones, do something similar. They exert a subtle pressure. They can kind of alter or maybe even suffocate the person we're trying to understand.
That makes a lot of sense. I can totally relate to that feeling. Being overwhelmed. When someone you love asks about every single detail, every thought, every feeling, even when you know it comes from love, it can just feel heavy, suffocating. Like there's no room to just be without explaining yourself constantly. I've definitely felt that.
Exactly. And that's the core idea here. This phrase suggests that sometimes the most loving thing is to create that space, that mystery, allowing someone to remain, as one source put it beautifully, infinite in our hearts. It's this profound acceptance that you don't need to solve them like a puzzle to love them. You embrace their whole self, the parts you see and the parts you don't.
Wow, infinite in our hearts. I like that. So, okay, if asking questions can sometimes suffocate, how do we actually use this idea, this restraint as reverence? Think about our digital lives, for example. It's hyper-connected. We can find out so much about people online, almost too much.
Oh, absolutely. You could spend hours, literally hours, deep diving into someone's entire online history. Years of posts, photos, connections, comments. And that's where this principle gets really practical and powerful. Choosing not to do that deep dive, especially with someone you're building something new with, that's a real act of respect, of trust. It basically says, look, I trust you to share what you want to share with me directly. I don't need to scrape your digital past. It respects their privacy in a world where it's often, pretty thin.
That's so true. And it really hits home with parenting too, doesn't it? I mean, obviously, parents want to know what's going on with their kids. But sometimes letting kids have their own secrets, their private thoughts, their experiences, without constantly interrogating them, that shows deep trust. Trust in their growth, their autonomy. I actually have a friend, her teenage daughter used to tell her everything, and then she started holding back more. And my friend, instead of drilling her, just said, sweetheart, I'm here. Whenever you want to talk, no pressure. And that spaciousness, that is love. And funnily enough, it often leads to more sharing later when the child feels safe.
Yeah, it really does. And what strikes me, too, is how this isn't just about romance or family. Think about work, like one source mentioned. Not micromanaging, That's trust.
Mm.
Or in friendships, not demanding every single detail about a friend's choices.
Yeah.
It's all rooted in trust. There was this great analogy about gardening. You don't keep digging up a plant to check its roots, right?
No, you'd kill it.
Exactly. You water it, give it sun, you trust the process, you create the conditions for growth, and you let it happen. It's the same with people. Provide support, nourishment, and trust them to grow without constant digging.
Okay, so this feels much bigger than just like being polite or giving someone space. This sounds like a fundamental shift in how we even understand love itself. It's not just a nice thing to do, it's a different definition.
It absolutely is a redefinition. And it taps into some really deep wisdom. You see echoes of this in other places too. Like in Zen Buddhism, there's this concept of holding space for the unknown. Sometimes the most powerful questions are the ones you don't ask, like a Kogarian. Those paradoxical riddles Zen masters use.
Right, the ones that don't have a logical answer.
Exactly. They're meant to bypass your usual thinking, open up something deeper. By not demanding an answer, by leaving that space, you allow truth to emerge in its own time, organically, without forcing it.
So when we manage to resist that urge to ask, to know every last thing, we're actually making this incredibly powerful statement. It's like saying, I love you just as you are, mysteries and all. I don't need to figure you out to love you. It reminds me of music, actually. The silence between the notes, that's just as crucial as the notes themselves.
That's a perfect analogy.
Those pauses, the rests, they give the melody-shaped rhythm room to breathe. Imagine music with no silence, just noise.
Exactly. And that's the kind of intimacy this practice fosters. It's different, maybe deeper. It's built on trust, on acceptance, not on having complete information or feeling like you're in control. It's about respecting their whole inner world, knowing some parts are just theirs or theirs to share when they're ready. It's not apathy, it's reverence.
Okay, so the big challenge then is, how do we actually do this in our day-to-day lives? Because obviously we're not saying never ask questions. That would be silly. Sometimes you absolutely need to ask to support someone or understand.
Right, it's not about silence, it's about intention.
Intentionality, that's the key word. So when that urge comes up, that need to probe, to dig deeper, maybe we need to pause just for a second and ask ourselves, okay, why am I asking this? Is it genuinely to support them? Or is it actually about my own anxiety, my need for control, or maybe just my discomfort with, not knowing?
That self-reflection is so crucial because often we ask to make ourselves feel better, to reduce our uncertainty, not necessarily what the other person needs. And sometimes the most loving question isn't a question at all. It's just presence, being there fully, without needing to fill a quiet, without needing to extract anything, just offering a safe space where they can just be.
That's something we can all practice, right, in our interactions.
Right.
When that instinct to dig kicks in, just pause, take a breath, ask, what would love do right now?
Maybe love asks gently. Maybe love just waits patiently. Maybe love simply witnesses and trusts. It's subtle, but it feels like a huge shift.
And when we do manage to create that kind of space, that allowance for mystery, something really quite beautiful can happen. People feel freer, less burdened, more accepted for who they truly are. They feel loved not just for what they choose to show, but for their whole self. Mysteries included. It fosters real autonomy, real authenticity.
So to kind of wrap this up, the really profound insight we've pulled from these sources today is this idea. To not demand an answer is to let someone stay infinite in your heart. It points to this very different, maybe transformative kind of love, one that trusts deeply without needing to control or possess every single piece of information.
Yeah, it fundamentally challenges our usual assumptions about what real intimacy looks like, doesn't it? It invites us into embracing the beautiful, sometimes messy complexity of just being human together.
Absolutely. So a final thought for you to maybe mull over as you go about your day interacting with the people in your life. Remember that sometimes the deepest questions, the most loving ones, are the ones we choose not to ask.